I woke up that morning, I saw the first plane hit. My spidey senses went to 10. I was like, this is not an accident. I jumped in the shower. By the time I got out, the second plane has hit. So, like you know, I had a pretty tumultuous career, and was injured many times, over 20 times in the line of duty. And my wife is just happy to have me retired. And she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to work. My people are in there." She's like, "You're retired." No, I'm not. My people are in there. So I left her crying at the door. And I went in. I had a Dodge 2500 truck with a V10 motor. And I don't even want to tell you how fast I was going to get in there. But it's funny because when I was stopped at the bridge, because they shut the city down, I look over to my right, and who's there? A guy I used to work with who ended up going to the fire department, Pete Gleason. And because I had the dog with me, I was able to get over the bridge. And when I was flying down the FDR Drive, everybody else was walking and fleeing up the north side. Ended up parking my truck by the Battery Tunnel. I secured my dog. My truck ended up getting towed away. I didn't see it for weeks, but it didn't matter to me. So I got there, I got on a team. I saw a lot of people that I used to know. A good friend of mine who used to work with as a radio car partner. He's a chief now, Jin Yi. Gave me his helmet. He's like, "Go to work." I had kind of distanced myself from the job at that point. So I'm there in a pair of work boots, jeans, and an NYPD blue t-shirt, which probably most people don't remember that show now. I had my 5-shot chief revolver on me, and just went to work. I freelanced. I was there. When I got there, it was pitch black. Man, it's just I'm walking down West Street. There's body parts. There's an airplane engine in the middle of the street. I mean, it was bad. And the thing that still haunts me today is the firemen's alarms, because they were just going on constantly. And we were doing our best to find people, but except for Will Generino and McLaughlin, they were the only two people that we pulled out. They were both Port Authority police officers. That night, there was no water. The fire department was, because all the sewer lines, all the water lines were broken. The fire department was pumping water in from the Hudson River. But when we climbed up the steel I-beam, there was fires burning on all sides of us. It was, we were just doing our job. And to this day, sorry guys, to this day, it still haunts me. I absolutely knew it was a terrorist attack. And that's why I had to get in there. I had to help my people. Out of the 23 New York City police officers that were killed, 14 were in emergency service, and I worked with almost every one of them. I was partners with some of them. I went through specialized training school with most of them. It was a big loss for us, and still 20 years, I've never missed being down at the World Trade Center on 9/11. At first it was chaos before anybody could really get organized. So I went in, I freelanced for a little while before I got on a team, and then really, one of my best friends, Frankie Pinto, showed up, and I worked on that team. Sergeant John English, as soon as he saw me, he's like, "Grab a Scott bottle, we're going to work," which, a Scott pack isn't an air-breathing unit, for people that don't know that, but and we never use it. Only if you're really in trouble, then you put the mask on. So when I worked in the pile, I worked in the pit. When I was down in the hole with trying to rescue the 2 Port Authority cops, I was only supposed to go down there for 10 minutes. And I kept getting called on the radio, "Come out, come out, come out." But I couldn't come out. So eventually, I had to come out because we're rotating, we were taking turns. Well, I was down there for 2 weeks when it was a rescue mission. Once it became a recovery mission, then I went down there every weekend for the next 6 months. It was all rescue. Then the next day we teamed up. It's funny, I got teamed up with a guy, he didn't know me. He's like, who is this guy? I said, "I worked in 7 Truck." So I said, don't worry, pal, I'll never leave you. So we were down. Now we were down in the pit. I was walking through water in the PATH train that was up to my chest, looking for people. Unfortunately, there was really nobody to save. I mean, we lost a lot of people. Port Authority lost a bunch of people. Firemen lost 343 people. You don't have a chance to think about it. It's just what you train for, and that's what you do. I mean, we'd go up. First of all, there was no vehicles because they were all crushed. So, we stole cars. We did whatever we had to do to get in there. We stole postal trucks. We did whatever we had to do just to get into the city. But I mean, driving down West Street on the back of a flatbed and having thousands of people applaud you and hug you and, try to buy you food, it was a whole different atmosphere. I mean, there was really respect and love for the police. We've lost thousands of people post 9/11 due to 9/11 related injuries and cancers, some suicides. A lot of people are sick that I know. It's not going to end for a long time. I mean, look, I'm 60 years old. People die, I understand that. But a lot of people are dying early. A lot of people are sick. When I got down there, I was driving down the FDR Drive. There were people walking up, all covered in dust. So those people survived. I mean, I had buddies that the buildings crashed down around them. They survived. Sick to this day from asbestos and, all kinds of different cancers, just breathing in all of that shit. Like I said, I personally didn't rescue except for 2 people, even though I tried, and I tried my best. There was just nobody to rescue. The only 2 people that I was personally involved in rescuing are the 2 Port Authority cops. Other than that, as hard as I tried, there just was nobody to rescue. Anybody that could walk out of there, walked out of there. They were way down deep in the hole. Scotty Strauss and Patty McGee were right next to them. I was just handing down, look, I'm always the first guy in, last guy out. But on that particular day, I was just handing down tools to try to help them. At one point, they were going to have to cut this guy's leg off, so we had a surgeon down there. We ended up getting him out. But for a while, it looked like they were going to have to amputate his leg to get him out of there. Thank God that didn't become the case, but we had all kinds of heavy equipment in there. I mean, as much as you could bring into a hole, Hearst tools to try to lift up steel beams, but I mean, the devastation was so massive. I mean, the construction crews, the iron workers, the people that came to the scene afterwards, they're really truly heroes too, because they were moving stuff that allowed us to go in and do further searches, which we couldn't have done on our own. You had the pile and you had the pit. The pile was huge. The pit was deep. I mean, I was there when 7 World Trade came down. There was fires burning all around us. We were underground. 20 years later, it's still emotional for me. I've seen a lot of things in my career, but that was just total devastation. A few weeks before that, I had my daughter and her girlfriend at the World Trade Center. We went up to the roof, and then a few weeks later, the place was just devastated. It was gone. Always be ready. You never know what's going to happen. When I was in emergency, we used to have a saying, "Oh, it's the big one." They'd call like 5 trucks to go to a scene, hostage job or something, and we always used to joke about the big one. Well, this was the big one. I actually slept on the floor of Penn Station that night because there was no trains running. My car got towed away, so when a train eventually came into Penn Station, I got on the train, there was no cell phones back then. Even if there was a cell phone, there was no signal. So I called my wife from a payphone, which they actually had payphones back then. I asked her to pick me up at the train station. She was so pissed off at me. She didn't want to. She didn't even want to come and pick me up. But I had walked through debris and dead bodies, and my boots were half melted off. So when I got off the train, I ended up just taking off my boots and leaving them on the street before I got in the car because I couldn't bring that carnage into my house.